to the show. This is The Force Always. My name is Diz, aka David Zaman. Let's get on with the show with the news, the views, the reviews, and interviews, and making news this time around. Mandalorian and Grogu reactions and reviews are out there. It's more should be on the line of reactions, but they are out there circulating. If you don't want to be spoiled by these people, then don't watch it, as I have to this point. I know that there's pretty much simple headlines that will sort of describe their experience, which I'm getting, mixed at the moment. And but it's out there, so be mindful. Making more news. Speaking of Mandalorian and Grogu, it actually opens to the real fans, not just celebrity identities from YouTube or other media outlets. This week there are midnight sessions in Melbourne, Australia. I know that maybe the rest of the world they've got it as well, but Melbourne, Australia has a midnight sessions, and I am looking forward to going back to a midnight session, wishing I won't fall asleep, but I'm sure that I won't fall asleep as I'm pretty excited. Besides, the events of happenings in the last week or so. So pretty much that's the news. And also, speaking of those, down moments in my life, my, privileged life. Star Wars Celebration in LA 2027. There's no updates yet on ticketing or anything else at this point. Again, I will let you know when something comes to fruition. Anyway, let's get into views. Views is usually my viewpoint or opinion or possible story idea. That's my view that I'd like to see happen. I accept the story for what it is from start to finish, whether there's ups or downs or whatever it is. I think Star Wars is still the adventure we are on. And it has taken on a real life form from recent years amongst the fans. But anyway, so this time it's going to be actually an opinion, a viewpoint. Star Wars fans core, the hardcore, the core of Star Wars fans, which is pretty much the title of this video, really do come second. I think these world premieres are great for the spectacle, but are just a bit of a downer with the hardcore fans. Star Wars is a whole different beast when it comes to the actual fans. And I'm not calling the Star Wars fans beasts. I'm just saying the whole thing is just so big. It's like as big as a beast. And I just think, it just causes issues, especially with myself watching YouTube. I've avoided a lot of YouTube regular shows, little points, little excerpts because of a world premiere. I think also people at Star Wars, Disney, Lucasfilm really should source out people other than just the main YouTubers and main media outlets. Go to the hardcore Star Wars fans and get them there, and what experience that would be, and you would get a real perspective rather than a almost semi-professional or professional version of seeing Star Wars, a movie or whatever it is. Anyway, that is my view. Just thought I'd drop it in. Anyway, let's get now into reviews. Reviews this time around is something unusual, and I can't confirm if this is real or not, but if it is or isn't, it's impressive. It is an Imperial starship that has been made into a oversized cruise boat owned by somebody. If this is true, let's say it is not true, the whole idea is amazing. The reason why this works, other than having it being the Millennium Falcon on the sea, is that the Millennium Falcon would look a bit unusual in the sea all the time. But this thing actually sort of looks like a boat for the skies. It sort of almost looks like a bit of a warship, which it is actually a war starship, but it actually suits it almost looks like a warship for the seas. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of inspiration from the warships for this particular design when they first designed it. But this is a 10 out of 10. I'll tell you why. I love when Star Wars products, it has a real life feel to it. Like you can look at this cruise liner or whatever it is, a cruise ship, or a cruiser or sea cruiser, whatever level of sea rank this is, and you would just think it's built for the sea. Like some people would just look at that as a a sea cruiser. And people like myself and a lot of people will just recognize what it is, but it just marries perfectly. And that's why it gets a 10 out of 10. It's great. Whether it's real or not, I'm going to put my finger on it and like that. And I think it's real because it's magnificent. Anyway, so that's my review for this time around. Let's get now into the reviews. Let me go as a reviews, interviews. And interviews is from my last video. If you want to send me a question, trivia, or just opinion, or just a comment, deemed appropriate for Star Wars, please go ahead. Anyway, so the last particular video, I had a Computer Boy 2K write in and say, if you watch the trailers that have come out for Mandalorian and Grogu, you could make a super cut that is nearly half the content of a fan preview back on 5th of the 4th, 26. My son and I went to the IMAX preview in WintonCon, USA, and the extra detail in that screening was very cinematic. It looks like did some classic stop motion animation in parts. It gives it a throwback feel to when I was a preteen in the 80s. There you go. Thanks to Computer Boy 2K. Speaking of Computer Boy 2K, again he's written in and he's written in and said LA Convention Center is a little over half the capacity, 1 million square feet, versus Anaheim Convention Center, 1.8 million square feet. Organizers have planned this poorly. There would have been far more tickets available if they were just went to Anaheim. You could do the convention at Disneyland Resort in the same week like we did when we went in 2022. He's talking about Star Wars Celebration 2027, part of this whole ticket fiasco. And, this is a question that's been brought to my attention and some detail, which I've actually written to the LA Convention Center, and they still have not been able to answer exactly what I'm asking. What is the capacity for people? For some reason, it's a taboo question. I don't know why, but anyway, I keep bouncing emails back and forth, but Computer Boy 2K has pretty much put it down to in square feet. It shows that the one in Anaheim could be a point. I think two reasons why they didn't do it there is because they were just in Anaheim, even though it was 2022. That's 4 years ago. It would be 5 from when the actual convention begins. And I think it's also because they just wanted a location that just said LA rather than Anaheim. I think that's all it really is. But they've obviously, and my initial criticisms was it was undersized. This is, for me, coming from the international side of things, it's not that we've been deprived of, having it on home soil. We've never had it in Australia, Melbourne, Australia. It could be held in Melbourne, Australia, in Melbourne or Sydney. I would say you could really do it in Melbourne, Star Wars Celebration 2000 and whatever it is. But yes, they've undersized it. If that's 1.8 million square feet versus 1 million square feet, there is capacity for that. I'm sure that the cost of it would be similar. And, when, Disney and or Star Wars and or Lucasfilm is filled with a big cash flow. Yes, they have big cash expenses, but you know, they've really undersized this particular event, the 50th anniversary. Anyway, we're going to go on again and again and again. I'll just keep you updated. But thanks to Computer Boy 2K for putting that piece of information. And yeah, so that is the Innie's views for this time around. Look, subscribe to the channel. I'm here 3 or 4 times a week. This week, a little bit more than 4 times, I think I have. But next week, you know, sorry, the channel is The Force Always. I'm here 3 or 4 times a week. Like and share the video if you like. Press notifications to get a reminder my particular video has dropped. I sort of drop it in similar time periods, but not always the same, especially if there's breaking news or something to sort of vent about or something like this. I really wish it's not about venting, but, you know, just to report on it, to seek a resolve, if that could ever happen. And so, again, look out this week. It's the big Mandalorian and Grogu week for all of us who are fans, including myself. And until then, my friends, keep rocking.